Today is 17th Sunday in Ordinary Time, deepening our Sunday Gospel and readings through the Gospel of John chapter 6 verses 1 to 15. And today is also the start of our 9 days Novena Mass from July 28th up to August 5, 2024. Highlight of our 50 days of reparation and conversion from June 19, 2024 to August 6, 2024 of how we will celebrate the Lord's Transfiguration. It's timely also when the Catholic leaders joined French bishops in condemning Last Supper scene at Paris Olympics opening 2024. I was actually surprised to that controversial scene to Leonardo da Vinci apparently mocking him of his painting with the work began in 1495 and finished in 1498. That is the Last Supper of Jesus before he was crucified. Taken from John chapter 3 verse 21. My being surprised for my brother bishops is because in respect to them, into my own point of view, I don't see anything wrong. For my purpose and intention is clearly and only for entertainment to that opening in Paris Olympics 2024, which I expressed personally the joy and gratitude for that spectacular and wonderful grand opening, which it cost of 1 billion euros, about $1.62 billion to that kick-off at the French capital last Friday. But when I saw our French bishop and expressed deep regret over sins or derision in mockery of Christianity, which we deeply deplore, but thinking the members with other religious denominations who have expressed their solidarity. Bishop Charles of Malta expressing his distress and great disappointment at the insult to Christians during the opening ceremony of the Paris 2024 Olympics. But in our professionalism and unity of denomination of religions in France to that big event, there is lack of consultations why it happened before that big events is to happen. Why? Because it is a world events, the Olympics, of the athletes from different parts of the world. And there should be a coordination and consultation to avoid such thing of what happened. if that is truly intentional, or they truly allowed of the organizers and official of the Paris Olympic 2024. Because the official Olympics Twitter account described part of the scene as depicting the Greek god Dionysus, and to make people aware of the absurdity of violence between human beings. So, if the classical mythology is known as Greco-Roman mythology, or Greek and Roman mythology is the collective body and study of myths from the ancient Greece. That is why the god Dionysus, the effeminate god, which is male and female, which means a liberator, which means a liberator. And the characteristics of god of Dionysus, sometimes extremely happy and bring joy to the people, but at other time he was angry and violent, represented the effects of wine can have on a person. It is why how it came out about the Last Supper and about the apostles in respect to my brother bishop's interpretation of the scene in the Paris grand opening, while in my part about the opening, I don't see anything wrong. But what I saw is truly an entertainment and a wonderful productions to the opening, which brought a deep love to the world and for world peace, with an spending of amount to 1.5 billion euros. The question is, France is a predominantly Christian nation with Catholicism as its historical bedrock. Why it happened? Approximately 51% of the population identifies as Christian, with the vast majority being Catholics. However, France's religious landscape is diverse, encompassing Islam, Judaism, Buddhism, Hinduism, and other faiths. France's view of religion guarantees freedom of religion as a constitutional right, and the government generally respects the right in practice, or this right in practice, because of a long history of anti-clericalism. The state cut its institutional ties with the Catholic Church in 1905 and made a strong promise to keep the public sector free of religion. Its freedom of religious practice to express it in an entertainment is freedom of religious practice to express it in entertainment committed violation the Olympic officials if it is about the run afoul of a public morals or they don't committed any violations. It depends on how the Olympic officials will explain it as far as classical mythology is concerned to the opening of the Olympic 2024. But of course, how should Christian act towards non-Christians? And this is for all of us. Stop judging non-Christians. Empathize with non-Christians and live out your faith authentically. But to deal with non-Christians, value them as people. Listen to them. Find permits of connection. Understand their perspective. Welcome questions. Admit ignorance and pray. So to end this, as it is timely for 9 days Novena Mass, starting today, July 28 to August 5, calling all our Parish Priests and even all our priests around the world to end the 50 days of our reparation and conversion to Jesus' transfiguration. We encourage us all to be patient and faithful in seeking God's plan in our lives. Let us always to give importance daily to the holy Eucharistic sacrifice of the Mass, of Jesus' institution of the Last Supper. The new covenant that Jesus would institute through his death and resurrection. If lesson of transfiguration, Jesus is glorified when we deny ourselves, take up our cross, and follow him. The lesson of the Last Supper, Jesus teaches them, or all of us, through these acts, a new covenant to love one another. Taken from Gospel of John, chapter 13, verses 31 to 35. Why, if there is if there is guilt to what happened to the Olympic officials on the grand opening for the Olympic 2024, to the Catholics and to all Christians, Jesus' commands is to love our enemies. This is what the world need for world peace. And pray for those who persecute you. Taken from Matthew chapter 5 verse 44. Is pretty all encompassing. We may not able to forgive because the person hasn't repented, but that doesn't free us from Jesus' call to love our unrepented sinners who want to damage us. God is no longer holding man's sins against them. Sin will kill you, but it's no longer an issue between God and man. Although unbelievers aren't saved, their sins forgiven. It's now up to them. Amen.